Hello, everybody. Welcome to Late Night Football. Welcome to our new series, or at least the first episode of what we hope will be a new series on this day. We'll be talking about some major incidents or major events that happen in football on this day, whatever time period back. And we'll kind of reminisce that, discuss about what happened, how it perhaps impacted the course of football, or just how it was a fantastic or phenomenal, or if you're not a fan of it, then a depressing disgusting moment in our footballing life. So we talk about that today for our first episode. We decided to go 25 years back to July 12th, 1998, the World Cup final between Brazil and France, and the moment when Zinedine Zidane announced himself to the world as a bona fide, genuine superstar of the game, which would later on, of course, go on to achieve legendary status in the game. So we're going to talk about that. Now, obviously, the game is remembered for a lot of things than just Zinedine Zidane's masterclass moment. And Bobby will touch a little bit on the controversies of that. But just to give a bit of context, of course, for those of you who may not be aware, of course, this was a game between France, who were the hosts of World Cup 1998. Probably one of the dark horses of the tournament, not necessarily one of the tournament favorites, but they were definitely dark horses in the tournament. And then you had the all-conquering Brazil side, who were world champions. They had, Ronaldo, the Brazilian Ronaldo, at that time universally acknowledged as the best player in world football. And of course, you had Rivaldo, you had Bebeto, you had this whole star cast lineup, Roberto Carlos, Cafu, all these great players that were there, already great players and on their way to becoming legends of the game, of course. On the other side, France, of course, had some very good players as well. They had Lilian Thuram, Laurent Blanc, who didn't start this game, but they were suspended, but he was there. Vicente Lizarazu. You also had, of course, Zidane was there, as was Didier Deschamps. So, and of course, Fabian Barthez in goal. So a lot of great players. I mean, it was the 90s, but it was just a time when football was so much better in those days. Now, I didn't watch this game. But what I will say is that this was the World Cup 1998 was pretty much my first exposure to football, because I wasn't a big fan of football in those days. My love for football probably started around 2003, 2004. But I had a neighbor who was very, very obsessed with football, and he was obsessed with World Cup 1998. So, he was always talking about Brazil and how great Brazil are and this and that. And before that game, he was so excited for the World Cup final. And then when you go the next day after the World Cup final, he was completely disappointed and dejected. And you just wonder what happened. And then I realized, okay, well, France won and Brazil lost. And it was like a 3-0 defeat, which was absolutely shocking in many ways. And the result was shocking to a lot of people. But Zinedine Zidane bossed that game. He bossed that game. I'm not going to go into details about the game itself, because I think many of you may have watched it. There's not very much. I can't really do a lot of tactical analysis. Like I said, I don't want to be facetious and say a lot of things. I didn't watch the game, but what I do know is that I have seen highlights of it. And you got to say that Brazil just looked like a shell of the team that they were throughout that tournament. And France just looked like on a different level entirely that whole game. Zinedine Zidane scored 2 beautiful goals, and not just the goals, but he actually looked. Sometimes players look in that unbeatable God mode. And he looked in that unbeatable God mode in that moment. So if you ever play FIFA, sometimes players just look like 99 levels. No matter what you do, they look like 99 levels. And they start look like 99 level player that in that game. Of course, Petit also got a score towards the end to make it 3-0. But really the game belonged to Zidane, and it was Zidane's final. It was a fantastic moment for him. And of course, there's a lot of controversy on what happened with Ronaldo. Was Ronaldo fit enough to play? Should he have started that game? Should he have played that game? I mean, there's all sorts of conspiracy theories, right? I mean, there's things about Ronaldo, of course, was unfit. He had convulsions before the game. He had fallen unconscious. He was in the hospital for 3 hours. Maybe shouldn't have started the game, but then kind of convinced Zagallo that he should play the game, and Zagallo put him in the team, probably because he didn't want to take him out of them, probably because being in the team might have given, he probably felt that psychologically not having Ronaldo in that final game might impact Brazil, and so just having him on the pitch might be a major psychological boost for Brazil. But it just didn't look like themselves. Brazil didn't look like themselves. There was a challenge that came on Ronaldo very early on in the game. It just completely took him out of it. Like, he didn't look like the player that he was. And Brazil just disintegrated. I think they just disintegrated, which probably was the first, but wasn't the last time that's happened. It's happened since, of course, but this didn't look like the team that they were. And there's, of course, conspiracy theories. Like I said, I mean, this talk that Nike kind of forced Ronaldo to play that game. Like they pretty much said that he has to play the final. Who was sponsoring the Brazil team at the time? That has been unfounded. There was talk that maybe Brazil were told to throw the match. That they were told to basically lose that final, so they could then win another final in the future and also host the World Cup in the future, which did happen. And so a lot of people have to gain credence from that, like, oh yeah, those rumors were true. I'm not sure. I mean, it's up to you to believe whatever you want to believe. But the reality is that game was about Zinedine Zidane versus Ronaldo, and Zinedine Zidane came out on top, and he proved to everybody what a great player he would become. The funny thing is, the interesting thing here is, if you look at 1998, 99, Zidane was playing for Juventus, and Juventus had a really, really bad season. Juventus actually finished, I think, 9th that season. They also lost in the Champions League final to Manchester United, who went on to win the treble. But they had a really poor season. So it does beg the question, doesn't it, that as to whether Zinedine Zidane, after the heights of that World Cup, was he perhaps he took a season or two, just like he needed time to recover from his own exploits. And I think it is funny to think that at a time when he was universally acknowledged as, at that moment in time, he was recognized as the best player in the world, he was still probably, his club format kind of slumped quite a bit. So he was staying for another season, and then in 2000 he moved to Real Madrid, but never quite hit the heights at Italy like he should have. And I think Juventus would have probably been disappointed with that, particularly with the hype that he came through. But for that moment, for that one night in 1998, he was, quite frankly, head and shoulders above everybody else in world football. And France were head and shoulders above everybody else in world football, as they were world champions. The first World Cup title that they won, and it was all thanks to Zinedine Zidane. Of course, Zidane almost did it again in 2006. That's a story for another day. But a phenomenal moment, a fantastic moment, of course, and a genuine masterclass performance from a player on a really, really big stage, which is so rare to see. But we got that in 1998. So anyway, share your thoughts. If you have watched that final, do share your memories of watching that. As a France fan, as a Brazil fan, let me know what you thought about that game, what you think about, that moment. What do you think about Zidane's performance? What do you think about what happened with Ronaldo? Do you think he should not have started that final? I think he should not have started that final. If he wasn't 100% fit, you don't play players like that. You don't play players in games like that when they're not 100% fit, no matter who they are. You don't take that risk. But Brazil took it. What do you think? Should they have not taken that risk? Should they have played Mundo instead, as they were planning to do? Or should they have done something else? Let me know in the comments, of course. I would love to hear from you. And hope you did enjoy this, a little bit of a trip down memory lane, a bit of a reminiscing. Obviously, if you liked it, to smash like to it. So, that way we can do more of these in the future. I would love to do more on this if you enjoyed. So let me know in the comments. Let me know with your likes. If you're watching this on Facebook, do give us a star. If you enjoyed it, obviously love the support. And do subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. As I said, appreciate your support. Thank you for watching. Take care. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.